What it do, number one podcast listeners? We are back in video form. I promised you we would do it again, and here we are at the beautiful Sycamore Studios in Plain City, Ohio. Shout out to them for letting us use the space for this very special edition of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. I am your host, Premal, and I'm joined next to me across the table by Thomas Lewis. Thomas,
I am here, though. Yeah, I did make it.
Thomas Lewis is back with us. You already know, you probably guessed it. This is the NFL Draft Preview Edition. So you know, I reserved Thomas way in advance, clear it with his schedule. He's the busiest man I know. the most creative guy I know. Actor, director, producer, comedian. What other titles?
Ball knower.
Ball knower. And
most importantly, knows ball.
Knows ball and my go-to for NFL draft knowledge. Anything you hear from me, you can count on being at least somewhat secondhand from Thomas. So my knowledge I gain is now yours as well. Number one podcast listeners, only the finest for you. So Thomas, welcome back and appreciate you joining me for this annual NFL Draft Preview Edition.
I am always stoked to do this. Always stoked to be on Prem Brulee. It's like the best podcast to guess on that you could do. It's all vibes. I love the format. I love the questions we get. And most importantly, we set out to make you sound smart at your draft party. We want to give you a couple takeaways where you can be like, you know what I like? And everyone's like, damn, that guy listens to some good shit.
Exactly. This is so that you can be the ball knower of your own draft party. Amen. So, number one podcast listeners, I got a bunch of questions submitted by you. We're going to cover all those questions. I have them all down here for Thomas to answer. He purposely does his scouting, and I ask him his questions, so it's relatively blind. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him, which makes for great content because I get his true, honest take without sugarcoating anything. Not that you ever would, Thomas.
No, and this year I didn't scout tight ends like at all. I don't know. I do not know how I did this, but I make a checklist of my positions and I'll watch like the top 20 guys, and then if somebody sends me something, I'll watch him. And I clicked tight end and just never did it. So I was like, oh, cool. And I realized this because I went to go pull up my charts like a couple of days ago just in preparation for this. And I remember looking and I was like, oh, I watched two guys. Not ideal. Like that's great. So any tight end questions, I'm going to lie. I'm going to try to schmooze my way through it.
It's Kenyon Sadiq or bust. Spoiler alert.
I'm just going to keep saying that. He's one of the two guys I watched.
Exactly. Well, without further ado, number one podcast listeners, we got a lot of questions to get to. So I don't want to delay it any further. You ready to get started, Thomas?
I'm ready. Let's let it rip.
All right, man. So first up, I like to give an intro of the draft so that you number one podcast listeners know what you're getting yourself into as we head into the questions. So not really a yeah fam or nah, but for purposes of this, we're all yeah fam. If you're tuning into the NFL Draft Preview Edition, it's because you're at least aspiring to be a ball knower, so it's always a yeah fam to NFL draft.
Yeah, you're on the path of enlightenment to knowing ball.
Exactly. So this year's draft, the 2026 NFL draft, takes place in Pittsburgh, and it is from April 23rd through the 25th. As we all know by now, round one is on Thursday the 23rd, and rounds 2 and 3 are on Friday the 24th. The final rounds 4 through 7 are on Saturday. And that's how it's been going the last few years, so nothing new there.
They should still move it back to all day Sunday. Just throwing it out there. They should just make it a one day, all day Sunday thing.
Yeah, I was just telling someone this because I have always been a draft lover. Like, my dad would wonder why I'm watching rounds. Like before, it was just 2 days, but I'd be well into Saturday where they're announcing no name picks, but
yeah,
I kind of missed the 2 day thing. I missed the 2 day thing.
I miss when it started at like Sunday morning.
Yeah, an all
Like
day. Yeah,
it was an all day thing. The 2-day thing was best. I hate when they switched it to Thursdays. It's losing the magic and becoming like corporate. Like that's players aren't showing up, by the way. Only like 15 players are going, so they feel the vibes are off. The NFL's screwing it. They're screwing it. They do it with everything. They're doing it with this.
they're making so much money off rotating cities, but the fun
New
of it
York,
is seeing
Sunday.
the prospect. Yeah.
That was the cool thing. They had like the weekend out. They all did press. Now it's like nothing.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, number one podcast listeners, if you're tuning into video form, you see me with the branded mug. Shout out my brother and sister-in-law. Figured this was a good time to bring this out.
There's real stuff in there too.
Real stuff in there. And in honor of you and I both love different flavors of soda. We covered it last year. There is a Coca-Cola in there. So of course it has to, we had to rep the brand. Regular Coke all the way. Yeah. It's not just water in there. This isn't a talk show. This is you and I here. So
yeah, we're like the Mormon wives. You know how they just go out for soda? That's like us. You and I are texting each other like, oh my God, have you tried this cherry vanilla one?
Yeah. By the way, I just picked up a Mountain Dew did like their version of a cream soda. I haven't tried it yet. It's sitting in my fridge. I should have brought it today in honor of us, but
I'm a dew head.
It's not the same. Like if you were across from me next year when we do this in person again, that'll be
I will be
a time to bring out a soda to try.
We're doing
true
it.
Us yeah, that'd be appropriate. Okay. Anyway, back to the draft breakdown. I wanted to get a lay of the land. We're obviously going to be talking a lot in the first round. There are, unlike last year where everyone started this process with a pick in the first round, didn't end up that way because of trades. But heading into this portion, everybody had a pick for the first time. That is not the case in this edition. Multiple first-round picks. There are a few teams that have them. The Chiefs are picking at number 9 and 29. The Cowboys are picking at number 12 and 20. The Dolphins are picking at number 11 and 30. That was the recent Jalen Waddle trade with the Broncos. And the Browns are picking in 2 spots at 6 and 24. Then the Jets are picking at number 2 and 16 in the first round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams picking twice in the first round. Real quick, a fam or not. This draft class compared to a supposed really great draft class next year, does that make trades more or less likely in your opinion, Thomas? Yeah, fam, more likely that there's trades with an incoming really good class, or less likely because nobody wants to move?
It's a nah, fam. And everyone says next year's class is the better class. You've heard it every single class for eternity. Yeah. That's not it's not a real take.
It's true.
Because guys show up from, no one had Mendoza at like first overall. It's just not, it's not real. It's just, that's not a real thing. Nah, fam, it doesn't make it more likely, but only because of the fact that like there's no such thing as a great class. Really what you're saying is there's only one quarterback in this class.
Yeah, spoiler
if Dante
alert.
Moore was coming out, they'd be like, oh, this is a good class. But because he's not, there's only one option at the top, and then it's a free-for-all.
Right. Okay. Little preview there. Okay. I went over the teams with multiple first-round picks. Of course, the flip side of that is if you're fans of these teams, your team does not have a first-round pick, at least for right now. They could trade back in, obviously. The Atlanta Falcons, the Green Bay Packers, the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Denver Broncos all do not have day one picks. So Thursday night, they're not on the board right now. They'll have to trade to get into the first round. As far as the most and fewest picks in this draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers, your hosting site, the Steelers have the most picks. They have 12 picks in this year's draft. The Dolphins, Ravens, and Jaguars all have 11 picks. As far as fewest picks goes, the Seattle Seahawks, your reigning Super Bowl champs, they have just 4 picks in this year's draft. They are obviously a candidate to trade down and pick up more picks. They're the last pick in the first round, so I'm sure you could see that happening. The Falcons have just 5 picks, and same with the Chargers. They only have 5 picks. As far as notable picks in the top portion, the Miami Dolphins have 7 picks in the top 94. So they're in quite the transition phase, switching out quarterbacks and skill players. They could definitely change things up with 7 picks in the top 94, which is substantial. Similarly, the New York Jets, who I already outlined, had 2 picks in the first round. They have 4 picks in the top 44. So if you're talking about top-end talent, they have an opportunity. What could go wrong, New York fans?
Yeah, infinite. The Jets have infinite possibilities, don't they? And then it always ends up being the same one. They fucking suck every year. It's the same thing with the Jets. They get to draft season, they're like, they have so many picks, they have so much cap space. It's a mess. It's a mess. Just the Knicks. Someone's got to save that city. It's not going to be the Jets. Jets fans get a pass, by the way. I feel like I gave the Browns fans a pass with Watson. You can leave.
Yeah.
You can leave literally at any time. Like, no one would judge you. No one would be like, you gave up on the Jets.
You gave it a real try. I mean, who's making you do this?
Yeah, you're doing the opposite of getting paid for this. You're paying for this punishment.
Yes. Yeah, it costs money, yeah. Okay, and just to get a lay of the land, we're going to talk more picks, and we'll cover them as we cover each team, but I do want to go over your top 5. You do have your mock draft. By the time you see this, it'll be on socials, and you'll have a link to Thomas's first round mock. So you'll be able to see where your team is picking if they're not in the top 5. But for number one podcast listeners, I want to cover who he has going in the top 5. So first overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. No surprise here. You have Fernando Mendoza being selected as their new franchise quarterback. Obviously, the Raiders also have Kirk Cousins, so they have some sort of plan of being the corniest quarterback room in all of history, probably, with Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, but let them live. And that is probably, if you could pick 2 quarterbacks that least would be appropriate for Las Vegas, it would be those 2. And it's
how I would describe that quarterback room? That'd be a great place to run for Republican Senate, is with those 2 guys in town. That like all of a sudden some Republican senator is like, you know what? maybe we give Vegas a try.
Yeah, exactly. Well, number 2, the aforementioned New York Jets. You have our guy Arvell Reese from the Ohio State University going at number 2 to the Jets. Please let him work out for our sake. But Arvell Reese, the talented linebacker / edge out of Ohio State, who rose up draft rankings. Speaking of guys that wouldn't have been on this list if you talked about it last year. Number 3, you have the Arizona Cardinals going with tackle. It's Spencer Fano from Utah. Utah has a pair of tackles that are fair to be mentioned in this first round. We'll hear more about your tackles later. David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech, you have going number 4 to the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people have Reese and Bailey as kind of like 2 and 2A interchangeable. So you have them both going in the top 4. And number 5, the New York Giants, you have them selecting, again, another Buckeye, Sonny Styles, who had a tremendous season, a true linebacker going to the Giants, who go with defense again to add to a whole bunch of skill players. So number 5, Sonny Styles. I know we have a lot of Browns fans that are number one podcast listeners. They're number 6, so I'll give you a preview. He does have the Browns taking Carnell Tate at 6, which I'm sure would make a lot of Browns fans happy with our guy from Ohio State. So
it's crazy how good that Ohio State team was.
Crazy, and it makes me bummed all at the same time, knowing that we have nothing to show for it from this past season. Obviously, these are all champions from the year before, but I mean, talk about a crazy embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. What a waste! What a waste of that. Like what could have been all-time squad, but continue.
Yeah, shades of 2015 all over again. But Carnell Tate, our guy, let the Browns have been notable for skipping over Buckeyes. Last year they took Judkins. Do they follow it up with a great receiver in Carnell Tate? And by your estimation, your mock, you have 3 Buckeyes going in the top 6 if you're keeping track at home.
Wild.
Yeah. So go Bucks alert for sure. Thomas, certified Buckeye fan. You heard it here first.
You know what? There's nothing more I want to see than Buckeyes fans be happy more than anything on the planet.
You do. You do want your people to be happy.
I love a lot of Buckeyes fans.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no denying that. That's for sure. But before we continue with your questions, number one podcast listeners, you already know the product placement. You see it here. I do want to talk about our friends at Mushroom. Number one podcast listeners, in this new year, we are leveling up. I've been telling you about it the last few episodes. That's why I'm excited and honored that this edition of Prem Brulee in video form is sponsored by Mushroom. I got it right here. I got all the different methods that I've tried out their products. I recommend them all for your supplemental and health benefits. Mushroom offers functional mushroom blends for holistic wellness. While many companies are doing it, Mushroom separates themselves by being physician and minority owned. That's something I'm very proud to be affiliated with. As you number one podcasters know, I've been prioritizing my health. Plan to do another episode or two about that in the future. But functional mushroom extracts have become part of my morning routine. I opt for, you can see them below here, lion's mane and cordyceps in powder form. I mix it in with my iced coffee in the morning. I've also now tried the red reishi mushrooms in pill form, which are easy to add to your daily vitamins. I know previously I had Roche on here. He opts for this form. It has the same benefits no matter how you prefer to take your supplements, but and they're soon to be adding liquid extracts as well. So I just think these are all very convenient and only beneficial to your health. I've noticed a marked difference from my energy, focus, and overall health. I added the Coke in this mug because it's in honor of me and Thomas, but I find myself not needing it as often. Caffeine less often.
Cokeheads.
Yeah, Cokeheads. Pause. But it does a great job of regulating your body, boosting your immune system, keeping your energy and focus, and especially as we're leaving like sixth season and entering our season with, you know, people out here sniffling from allergies or you're not sure what from what. So I think
they always say it's allergies, though.
They always say it is, right?
Doesn't matter what someone's sick from. Everyone's like, oh, allergies.
It's allergy. Don't worry. It's just allergies. But
I saw my buddy the other day. He came back from Virginia. He goes, oh, I brought these terrible allergies with me. I wasn't feeling good in the last day. I'm like, you're sick and came home.
Yeah, that's just, like, that's a cold. You brought a cold from someone in Virginia is what
back,
you mean. Yeah. But I think it's helped me without needing that mid-afternoon fix, that mid-afternoon caffeine fix. It keeps my energy and focus through that mid-afternoon lull. I can't recommend it more to any of you number one podcast listeners. So, you know, I like to hook you guys up. Get yours by going to mushnoom.com/Prem Brulee. That's MUSHNOOM. You could probably see it from this very high definition camera and the appropriate branding in front of my laptop here. MUSHNOOM.com/Prem Brulee. You know how to spell that because you're here. And go get you some products. Try them out in different forms. If you prefer them with your daily vitamins, get the pill form. If you want to mix them into your drink without changing the taste of your drink, it mixes right in with one of those hand mixers we all have as we've become coffee addicts left and right. So get yours today, mushroom.com/Prem Brulee. Thomas, we got to get you some. Since you weren't here in person, we couldn't try it out.
I would have loved them, yeah.
The camera. But,
I'm having a midday treat right now in my mug. Wait, that sounds like it's like whiskey. No, there's actually a Capri Sun poured out into my mug, just to be clear. Yeah, we got Capri Suns the other day. They were like $1, and I was like, you know what? I was like,
oh yeah.
I don't have kids, but like I could have this in my fridge. It's not too weird. Like it's cool.
No, it's not that. It's like you have enough friends to be like, oh, it's for this. If someone is like, why do you have Capri Suns?
Yeah, because it is an insane thing as an adult to choose as like a beverage. And I got like 3 boxes of it, man. I was like, I had one. And I was like, I miss those. I'm going back.
Does this still hit the same?
Yeah, they make like an all natural one, which like, fuck off, dude. I wouldn't be drinking Capri Suns at all.
Come on.
If that was my intention. But no, it hits the same. Shockingly little amount in there though.
Yeah, it felt
shockingly little. Like you wouldn't even believe, if you ever had a Capri Sun as an adult, you'd be like, no fucking way. Like that's not a real amount.
See, I've never thought about that. Do you feel like when
Shaq
holds a water bottle?
Yes. The next, I'm telling you, do this. If you see Capri Suns, buy them. Cut open the top, pour it in a glass, and you'll be like, no way.
Oh
Is that how
no,
much
that'd be
is in
such a
Capri Sun?
bummer. That
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like such a bummer.
Oh yeah, it's yeah, it's nuts. Great for kids. They really tricked us, man. I thought I was getting something good. I thought as a kid that was like a treat.
They really did. Okay, Thomas, I know I want to focus on our long version of who you got because that's where I ask you all the questions. But I feel like this is an annual edition of You Played Yourself. So, I do want to cover You Played Yourself because this is Prem Brulee. So we can't not cover You Played Yourself here. So you ready to get going with You Played Yourself?
I'm ready. Let's wrap.
Okay. All right. So we talk about this every year, but this is our annual NFL draft edition. So it's an annual reminder. You Played Yourself goes to people who pretend the salary cap doesn't exist. Why isn't my team getting better? Why are they shedding so many contracts? You can't just decide to add the best player and totally disregard what your team's financial situation is. So You Played Yourself goes to people not considering salary cap. And then my other one is, which you can speak to more, people who pretend that they can just add any player without considering scheme and fit and who their coaching staff is. I think people just get infatuated with how good a player is and what they saw in college.
That's from Madden. That's from Madden.
Yes.
That's a new age thing. That's because like our parents didn't like grow up playing Madden every day with like ratings, but we did.
Yeah.
So we're like, just go get this guy. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem?
He's good, so put him in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we not have this guy?
And I think our first version of that, like even for casuals, I think you're right. Playing Madden, it was like the 4-3 versus 3-4 defense.
Oh yeah.
That was like our first indicator. I distinctly remember when the Cowboys switched to a 3-4 defense and how big of a deal that was for like DeMarcus Ware at the time to be a stand-up outside person, and because he was so used to putting his hand in the dirt. So that was like my first experience with that. Like, oh, that's what they're talking about in Madden. So
that's how you learn though. Is like you see, you're like, I never clicked that one. I always did the 4-3, dude. That was old school football.
Yep. And now it's cycled back, of course, but just like everything in football is cyclical. But anyway, quick one. You played yourself, but I do want to reserve most of this time for the questions that you, number one podcast listeners, submitted for Thomas, and a few that I've sprinkled in to fill in the gaps here to make sure we cover everything comprehensively. And unofficially, I wanted to make sure I kind of went through a checklist of each of the NFL teams, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to mention each one of them at least once and cover whatever fanhood you hold. So through all these questions,
can we do it? Can I do it in the amount of time we have?
We're going to go. We're going to see. Yeah, we're going to see.
Can I not yet? The real question is, can I not yet? Let's find out.
We're about to find out, aren't we? So, all right, without further ado, let's go to who you got and get to your questions, number one podcast listeners, the real reason you tuned in for this edition. So I added this one, Thomas, first off. Which player is going to annoyingly slip and wind up on a Super Bowl contender? We call this the annual Howie Roseman. We're going to bow down to the Eagles, Howie Roseman, for getting a guy that somehow landed at their feet. But I wanted to veer this into, so often in the draft we talk about the worst teams because it's the top of the draft. But who should some of the fans of good teams want? Teams like the Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers, the runner-up Patriots.
On like the back end.
Yeah, the Broncos, who are not picking in the first anymore, the Eagles, the Packers, the Lions, have a few Lions fans friends. Also teams like the Ravens and Bills, Ravens find themselves kind of middle of the road, but they have a good roster in place. So who are some of those players that those good teams should want?
The safeties and tackles. Bottom line. There's Monroe Freeling is like great, and he's going to fall. I think Dylan Tiedemann, though a safety from Oregon, is going to fall. Caleb Downs is going to get underdrafted because of the degenerative knee issue. Like, that makes sense. The talent at those positions stacks up with like pretty much every year. I think, one of the Utah tackles will fall. I think Mauga from Miami could fall. And I think those two positions are where the late teams are going to be like, these are premium positions when they're elite. Tackles obviously always needed. Safety is not a premium position, but look at what great safeties actually does for you. I always say they don't get paid a lot, but I can't name a team that isn't winning without dominant safety play in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Ever in my lifetime. Every one of those teams have the Ravens teams that won was Ed Reed, the Steelers, Troy Polamalu. Like, it was literally all these guys that Nick Amonwori just turned around the Seahawks. So, like, any of the safeties, if they start to slip, and then any of the tackles, and there's the Clemson tackle, I can't remember his name right now, but him coming off, that it's the board is stacked at those positions, and it's not heavy at the top. So someone's going to be getting great value there, and that's what the good team should be looking for. Even if you have tackles, take one, kick him into guard, and he'll be out there when your guy gets too expensive.
Right. It's a great point. Those are those teams with the embarrassment of riches. So just get. Do you generally think those teams can afford to do best player available and then just? Well,
I think everyone should be. Yeah, everyone should be taking best player available anyway. Like,
that's definitely a Thomas stance.
Yeah, if I were the Raiders, if I were running the Raiders, I wouldn't even be thinking about taking Mendoza. I'd be like, I'm taking Reese and I'm moving on. Sucks.
Okay. So, is Reese your top of your talent board, basically?
He is, and I like Mendoza a lot as a prospect. What he does, he's elite at some of the things he does, to levels like some NFL guys aren't nearly as good as what he does. But there's also other positions where he's just like lacking so much. Like, he's still really slow to read the field, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't get his eyes, he doesn't shift around enough. Sometimes he locks into a target and tries to make a play happen, but he's not Joe Burrow on that level of doing it. So I love Mendoza. I think the top 5 or so players in this draft compared to other drafts aren't as strong. Overall, I'd say the draft is pretty close, but like Arvell Reese, he wouldn't go top 5, or he wouldn't go top 2 in the last 5 drafts. And now it's like, I would argue I'd rather have him than Mendoza.
Wow. Okay. All right. Next up, which Buckeye, I think you alluded to this, which Buckeye falls in the first round? We covered 3 in the top 6. For number one podcast listeners who don't have Thomas's mock in front of them, you also have 2 more, and I don't want to give away. You have Caden McDonald going 28 to the Texans. Shout out my family. That'd be a big move for them. Defensive tackle. But you do have one slipping further than some others may, and you alluded to him. Caleb Downs is who you have slipping to 18 to Minnesota.
Yeah, I think the degenerative knee issue is going to scare people a lot. I think that's totally fair. There is a point in time in the media cycle where they were talking about him as a top 5 player. And then the degenerative knee thing came out, and they're like, well, the Chiefs could really use one. But they love trading away their defensive backs. They love finding value in them and then trading it away in the later rounds. Kidding. And, the Bengals, I think, would be smart to take Downs. I don't know if they do, just because they do like Jordan Battle, and they're also just a bad organization. So they might be too risk adverse. But I think if any of them are going to fall, it's going to be Downs, or also maybe Tate, only because the top 3 wide receivers are so different from each other. That if one team's preference is for whatever they want to do is different, the third guy to go is just going to go much later.
Right. And that is a nice segue for a question later that was submitted by number one podcast listener. So leaving little breadcrumbs here for us to come back to. Okay. Do you have a biggest day one shock that you could see? I feel like last year, this is the Shedeur Sanders question.
Okay.
Anybody that you could see slipping? I mean, I know you alluded to this talent pool being not as rich as previous years, but anything you could see not happening?
If I had to like call a shot as like a weird thing, like day one shock, like not just down or up, I'd say Ty Simpson could go top 15. And I think the media is not ready for them. People are. And I also think, and I put it in my mock draft, there's a real chance 2 running backs go in the first round this year. And people are just, we're talking about the running back position being dead. And I'm like, no, that would shock everybody else, that I'd be like, I kind of saw it coming.
Got it. And just for lay of the land, mention running backs. You have Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, who most people feel is one of the top end talents in this pool. Definitely running back 1 in most mock drafts. Going number 7 to the Washington Commanders, adding more skill players around Jaden Daniels. And you mentioned another running back, his backfield mate from Notre Dame, Jadarian Price, slipping to the last pick of the first round to the Seahawks, who obviously just lost Kenneth Walker in free agency to the Chiefs. So that one makes a lot of sense to fit in there. So you have a pair of Notre Dame running backs going in round 1, 7, and 32. So
Weird,
you're right.
right?
Most people are. You are right. Most people are just talking about Love going in round 1, and I do think most people have Price as running back 2, but largely you're assuming it'd be a day 2 pick. But you're right. I mean, a running back at a rookie contract is probably a benefit with not as many miles on their body.
The benefit's actually not there because I think the running back value's gone so low now that drafting a rookie is more expensive. But what's important is if you hit, it basically just resets your running back clock, and then you don't want to extend them when it's done ever.
Right.
So if you're investing in a running back, which is a premium position on the field, then you need one every 6 years. You're okay with that. Like that's how long running backs last anyway.
Yep. There is quite a drop. You have the rare exceptions like McCaffrey and stuff like that, but you're
who's probably lasted. Yeah, that you just don't. No one. Look, the Panthers. He was incredible in Carolina. The Panthers didn't even want to re-sign him. Like that's just how long running backs last somewhere. Derrick Henry with the Titans started late, so they were in kind of a weird situation because he didn't play like at all his first 2 years. So they basically started their own clock late. That's why they had to extend him. Then they let him walk.
Yep. Okay, I like that one. Okay. What are your deepest positions, let's say outside of the first round, and then the follow-up to this, I guess we could just talk deepest positions in general, and then outside of the first round, because I think most people feel it's a little, if anything, a little top-heavy, and it kind of trails off. So which ones do you like depth-wise going into day 2 and 3? And then want to get your take on the value of waiting versus getting one of those top players. Do you feel like this is worth getting into the top half of the draft because there's a drop off in the first round talent, or is there still value below that top chunk of players?
Great question. I think quarterback is a surprisingly deep class this year, only because so many of them have the same fatal flaw, which is like, well, we never saw them be incredible. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like all these guys, we were like, oh, they could be great. Then they just kind of never were.
Yeah.
So I think quarterback has a lot of value because this class is unique in the sense that the guys that are damaged and people are kind of like weary of really aren't that bad. Like it's like I wouldn't be a couple of years ago, you know, I mean, not a couple, 20 years ago, Drew Allar's a first round pick anyway. Like he was a stud all the way through. You know what I mean? Like this season doesn't hurt them that much. And now just because we're so analytical of them, but like all those guys could end up being good. I think middle linebacker is actually a great position for that specifically. This is just a super deep class with like absolutely insane. There's like 3 guys that could all go in the first. And Sonny Styles is uniquely like one of a lifetime kind of middle line. Like you could be getting prime Brian Urlacher right now.
Wow.
Like that's, and everyone would sign up for that, even with the devaluing of the position. So I do believe that like day 2 or 3, that's that half. And to answer your other question about going up and getting guys, I think if you're in a premium spot, going up and getting a more premium guy is stupid. But if you're not in a premium spot at all, getting up to paying more to get one does make sense.
Okay.
It's like, have you ever played pickup basketball? You ever pass to a guy and he's open, you're like, shoot, and he passes looking for a better shot? We used to be told, like, it's binary. You're open or you aren't. There's no such thing as more open. Don't wait to get more open. That's the same thing with the draft. It's like, it's either do it or don't. Like, if you have a good pick, you don't need a great pick. If you have a bad pick, you need a good pick.
Right. Makes sense. Simplify it, right? I like that. No such thing as more open. You're right. Don't Ben Simmons it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Like, stop. You're going to paralyze yourself.
Ben Simmons catching a stray in NFL draft preview edition. We got it all.
He might be listening. Guy's got free time.
He's got free time and a lot of money to show for it. So
okay. Buy Mushroom, Ben. I know you're listening, brother.
We might need a Mushroom for sure. He needs some. Okay. This one, I know you're going to have a unique answer to this. Who has the best mascot?
Stanford.
I got to honor all questions. Stanford, the tree.
Yeah, the tree, dude.
Yeah. Cardinal.
It's the only one that's iconic. All the other ones are like the good ones or weird ones are weird. Like
Yeah.
Brutus and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I get it. It's weird.
Yeah.
But like Stanford's is actually just a tree they made weird. Like that's not a weird mascot to have. Like you could have just done a tree without it being an insane nightmare.
Yeah. And it's like a poorly decorated one too.
Yeah,
So.
it's like it makes no sense. And then they're like, oh, we're never gonna change it because now it's like a whole thing, and it's like they're stuck with it. You know, some guy like phoned that in and was like, oh fuck, they're gonna keep that for 100 years.
That's my
He's
legacy.
he's gonna be on his deathbed, like remove my name from that plaque to his kids. Like, please.
What if it's just secretly Ben Simmons who did it?
Yeah, dude, he's got the time. Like, what else is he doing?
Okay, this one's a special one. What would it take to bring Premal back to the Cowboys? Let's say we'll keep it nice and short here. We're gonna say a new owner.
I'm going to give you one liner on this. I'm going to say big convincing move.
Big convincing move. Okay.
I think if the Cowboys actually went out and did something insane, and I'm just throwing like, no, I don't think any of this is reality. But if you were like, yo, they just traded Dak Prescott in their first for Mendoza, you'd be in. I'm telling you, I just know you'd be like, I'm in. They see something. They know something. Like, I'm in. Let's go get it.
I guess time will tell because Jerry loves a headline, so we'll see. I have said never say never because I've just had a lot of peace on Sundays just watching Red Zone and enjoying. And I have admitted like Roche has checked what's the update on it. I do find myself checking their scores. I just am less invested. So nice. I'll never say never. We'll see. Maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll find out. But for now, I'm enjoying it. I will still pay attention to their pick, and I'm interested to see who they get. But I can't deny that. But at least on Sundays, I've been a little bit more calm and together. So, if you don't believe me,
the household's nicer. It's lighter. It's cleaner. Yeah.
Wife and sons can attest to it. So, all right. I like that one. I know that was a special one from one of the number one podcast listeners everybody's curious about. Someone tried to trap me with like, who do you want the Cowboys to get yesterday? I'm like, nice try. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned them earlier. Of course, we're going to get questions from number one podcast listeners who are Cleveland Browns fans. Thomas, Browns quarterback situation. Is Deshaun Watson their opening day starter? And then two-parter, will they draft another quarterback this year? Obviously, they finished the season with Shedeur Sanders playing quarterback and had Dylan Gabriel last year and had Joe Flacco. It was a whole bunch of things. So who do you see being their opening day starter, and will they draft another quarterback?
I think Sanders will be their opening day starter. It won't be Watson, but I do believe they will go to him when Sanders struggles. And, I think they'll take another quarterback.
Of course they will. Why not?
Why not?
I do know you are of that feeling. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? What do you want? Like a backup guard or a shot at a franchise quarterback?
Right. True. Okay. So you alluded to this earlier. I do have some audio from number one podcast listener. Shout out Craig. He submitted a question. So number one podcast listeners, without further ado, here's Craig's question. And it's about the Bengals because he's a Bengals fan. So I thought you'd enjoy this, Thomas.
What's up, Prem? And all you number one podcast in your headphones listeners. I got a question for you experts. As a Bengals fan, defense has been a huge liability and pain in my ass the past few years. So I would love nothing more than for them to draft Caleb Downs. I saw some of the early mock draft boards having Caleb Downs available at number 10 and the Bengals selecting him. Please tell me there's more than a 0% chance that he will still be available at number 10 and the Bengals can select him as the new anchor of their defense. Or is their only chance at drafting him is trading up? Thank you.
Okay. So, Thomas, Craig was asking about he really wants the Bengals to take Caleb Downs. You kind of mentioned it earlier, like
Yeah.
it would be a great fit. Bengals fans missed their days of Jesse Bates. It felt like Jesse Bates leaving coincided with their defense just going down a cliff. And I know a lot of Bengals fans feel that way. And you mentioned safeties being so key, even though it's an undervalued position. So Craig asks, will Caleb Downs be there for the Bengals pick, or would they need to trade up for him? Based on your mock, you think he will be there, but you think the Bengals might be scared to draft him. Mm-hmm. His other thing was, do you think the Bengals drafting Caleb Downs is a good fit? And if he isn't or is a good fit, or if they're going a different direction, who helps their defense? Because everyone thinks they should improve their defense, rightfully so.
I will say, and I could go forever about this, so I'll try to make it concise.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs would be a great fit for what the Bengals do defensively, schematically. I still think you should always go best player anyway and adjust your scheme as you see fit. I don't think you need to be square pegging these things. And I think the Bengals won't take him because of the knee issue. Okay. And I think that the Bengals would be wise to walk away with any of those big three Ohio State defensive guys. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge David Bailey, Kendrick Folk believer. I personally don't want the Bengals to take a pass rusher. I know everybody thinks it's a huge issue. It's not. The defense had core coverage problems for a bunch of years under Amarino, and now under the new, I forget his name right now, the defensive coordinator's name, but now under the new coach that we just pulled back from Notre Dame, his biggest thing is
Al Golden,
yes. His biggest thing is his defense is so hard to run. And you alluded to Jesse Bates, once he left, everything went to crap. A, they lost their smartest guy on defense. B, they lost Al Golden.
Yeah.
He literally was their linebackers coach, which was the strongest point of the Bengals defense. Right. And I think that Sonny Styles would be a smart pick, but I believe that they believe Barrett Carter is part of the solution over there. I do not think that he is. Same with Demetrius Knight. I don't think they're great. I know that they probably do. Yeah, the Bengals need secondary help. The biggest issue is the defensive line can't get to anybody because everyone's open.
Right. So it looks worse, right?
Yeah, it looks just so much worse because they're supposed to be complementing each other, and instead they're actively hurting each other. On the rare chance that one of them doesn't screw up, the other one also has to not screw up for that half of the equation to work. So it's like trying to flip two coins every play, and you need them to land on the same side.
Wow. Yeah. So in your mock draft, you have the Bengals at number 10 selecting Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU. So it does address the secondary, but not who Craig was asking about specifically, Caleb Downs. And I'm sure a lot of Bengals fans, like Browns fans, they're in the state, a lot of overlap with Buckeye fans. And we've seen Caleb Downs kind of be the jack of all trades and the super smart player. Yeah.
He's a stud.
Yeah. And I know a lot of mocks have him tied to the Cowboys. Speaking of who we just talked about a little bit ago.
Be a good pick.
Yeah, he definitely feels like you square peg round hole. He feels like he would be. Yeah. We were talking about scheme and fit. I feel like he would fit anything because he's so smart. Like, he's widely been described as a computer by coaches, and he really is everywhere at once. Like, to see him diagnose a play before it happens is like really impressive. So
I fully agree.
Hopefully we'll see if the knee issue is something, or all it takes is one team to decide that it's not an issue for them. So we'll find out where he lands. But you have him at 18, so not going out of the first round, but slipping a little further than most think. I know there'd be definitely some fan hoods that would be pissed if they pass on down. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Craig, for that question. Appreciate you as always. You and all the number one podcast listeners for these. Okay. Let's see here. Next up, I was going to ask you this question: which defenses are the best fits for Caleb Downs? You said pretty much anyone, and I tend to agree.
So,
Yeah. Okay. this next question, we're staying on the defense, but going to defense line. In a draft class without a blue chip defensive tackle, what can the Bears do in round one to ensure their defense is better? So sticking on the defense, but going over to Chicago in the Midwest. So what can the Bears do to improve their defense, who had a great season last year, a little ahead of schedule under Ben Johnson and Caleb Downs? A lot of people want them to go defense. Number one podcast listeners, Thomas has the Bears at number 25, going with a guard out of Oregon, Emmanuel Pregnon. So you have them addressing the offensive line, helping continue to protect Caleb Williams. So what about defense, Thomas? What can they do to address it?
I just want to say just a little tidbit here. Ben Johnson is a sick man. So he's going to want more offensive firepower. So I just want Bears fans to be completely ready for that. Yeah. B, defensively, the draft not having these super elite guys isn't even a huge detriment to the Bears because they don't have a super elite pick. That's the bad side of winning a playoff game. But I do think in total here that the Bears are well positioned to take like Jermon McCoy, the defensive back out of Tennessee,
who had injury history and a lot of size and good tape, but was hurt this past year. Yeah.
Yep. And then because they don't have a good pick. So if they were to trade up for one, I could see that CJ Allen, Jacob Rodriguez, the defense needs a lot of help. So I don't think the defense is hapless or terrible. I mean, they lost because they were young. Yeah. But I do think that they are well positioned to pick up a defender that will help them. And if I were them, I'd go inside linebacker or cornerback just because that's where they need the most help. Defensive tackle is also a low value position in terms of you can fit guys in. If you don't have a truly elite guy, an okay guy does about as good a job.
Yeah. Yeah. It only makes a huge difference when you have that elite of elite at defensive tackle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those guys aren't available.
Just
obviously.
Like running back. Like having okay running backs is who cares? Everyone has okay running backs. No one has bad running backs.
True. Okay. Which blue chip first round prospect are you not buying? We'll call this the Trevor Penning Award. If you've been tuning in to NFL draft preview editions, you already know. I hate the term if you know, but that's a deep cut. Thomas reference there.
I was Trevor right, Penning by the way.
You were right. And every time Trevor Penning messes up, either I send a text to Thomas or he sends one to me without fail. So
I'm telling you, it's just so much. I'm sorry, that cracks me up because every time I'll turn on any Saints game and at any moment wherever Trevor Penning's been his whole career, he false started within the short amount or held, and I was like, this guy sucks. I would assume it really doesn't. I would assume that in this year's class that would be Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, mostly because I believe truly that the wide receivers aren't that different from each other in totality in terms of talent. His is the flukiest, and if you watch a bunch of what he does, it came up fluky. His ceiling to me is more Braylon Edwards' entire career through a season. He's just going to be like the kind of guy that does stuff that's like totally insane. Yeah. And you're like, no way did he just catch that on like 3rd and 21, but they're down 15 and there's a minute left. Who cares? Yeah. And he's also going to be the guy that drops like a 2nd and 1 slant. And, they could have iced the game if they pick up the first down and then they don't get the first down because they stop the quarterback push. Like, that's the kind of luck and vibes Jordan Tyson brings when he's on the field. A lot of what he did was fluky, whether or not it was a weird route jump that a defender fell for, a catch. Just watch a lot of his impressive plays, and everyone will instantly recognize what I'm saying. They'd be very hard to replicate in a harder situation.
Okay. Jordan Tyson, I like it. Okay. All right, what is a player you think teams will reach for? I think you talked about it a little bit earlier, but a few things people are kind of throwing out there is, does someone go get Ty Simpson as a second quarterback in round 1? Is there going to be a run on wide receivers, a run on offensive tackles? What player do you think teams will reach for? Or position if you prefer that one?
Oh, position's gonna. It's quarterback.
Quarterback.
Yeah, I do think so. Like. I don't. I know we could go on forever because this is such a hot take. But like, if I watched a bunch of tape and they were shadows, and you switch the situations around, I think I would convince myself Ty Simpson is better player than Fernando Mendoza pretty easily.
Wow.
So I think right off the
Dan
bat,
Orlovsky.
yeah, like I'm just throwing it out. I know it's insane. I hate agreeing with that guy.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where Mendoza doesn't do anything interesting. He is drafting Kirk Cousins' entire career, which is going to be like $4,000 yards a year.
Yeah.
You know, it is going to be that, but it's going to be a lot of 9-8-1 or 9-8 finishes, and you lose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of, they have 12 wins and then you lose in the playoffs. Mendoza won on that Miami team, and it's that perception killed any like the discussion that could happen reasonably.
Yeah.
And that Indiana team was incredible, by the way. Signetti, incredible. The whole Indiana team was fantastic. They were absolutely the best team in the nation. I just want to preface that because what I'm about to. They were also like the oldest team.
Yeah.
Like it was
crazy.
The grownest men. Like, good for them. Like, I want to be clear. Like, everyone should be trying to do what they just did. Like, that
they did it all within the parameters. Yeah, it wasn't unfair what they did. Yeah.
Perfect. Literally great. They're gonna change the way we look at college football because that's how good they were. I just think Mendoza winning screwed a lot of things up. And because I think Dante Moore was like, I'm going first overall. And then his agent was like, you're going second. He's like, I'm not going in this draft then, dude. Like, I might as well stay. Like,
I'm not going to the Jets.
He's like, no way. I think he'd be out if he could be a Raider. He didn't stay because he loves Oregon.
Yeah.
His team was like, well, I'm coming out because I'm going first overall. I'm way better than Mendoza.
Yeah. It's a great point. Yeah, quarterbacks always seem like the obvious pick for what could have a run. So, okay. Staying at quarterback, but a different team. We've been talking AFC North, so you knew in this area Steelers fans got to tap into.
Yeah.
Will our guy, Will Howard, be given a shot at quarterback if Aaron Rodgers doesn't return? Do you see that happening in Pittsburgh?
Absolutely. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't return, 110%. There's a real chance if Aaron Rodgers does return that you still see Will Howard at some point. If the Steelers look out of playoff contention, not that I know that they will be, they just might be. A lot of change there. If they do look out of contention, then I think they're going to say, Rodgers, sorry, man, there was no loyalty on your end. There's none on ours. We're trying Will Howard out. We're going to see what he's got. Yeah. It's that simple. And I'm a believer in the way Will Howard spins the ball. The only thing that's killing him is the coaching change. Yeah. That's going to screw him.
It seemed like Arthur Smith really liked him because obviously Arthur Smith's now in Columbus and has always been, he's like gone out of his way to compliment Will Howard. So,
Will Howard, I believe, like truly is the kind of guy that you should be taking and saying, why not? Every year you should draft a guy like Will Howard and say, why not? He could be a franchise guy. So I do think the Steelers will give him a look. And I think Rodgers is going to come back, and I don't think they're drafting someone else.
Yeah, I think his old coach from Green Bay coming to Pittsburgh, it feels like it makes too much sense. For what it's worth, number one podcast listeners, Thomas, you have the Steelers at number 21, selecting Caden Proctor, the tackle out of Alabama, at 21, which I'm sure would be welcome. Obviously, a line help is always something true ball knowers are all about. So, okay. Let's see here. Next up, every year we do this, position rankings. Thomas, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So first up, we've been talking quarterbacks. So I want you to rank these prospects.
Okay.
And you can include others if I missed the name that you want to include. Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, who you've mentioned a little bit earlier, Carson Beck, and whoever else you want to include. How do you rank those guys?
Simpson, Mendoza, Aller, Gus Nussmeier, Garrett Nussmeier, and then a huge, Carson Beck's not, I wouldn't even lump him in with those guys. He just doesn't have it. If I had to throw an extra guy in there, I would say like Haynes King.
Okay. From Georgia Tech. Got it.
Yeah.
Kind of I feel like He's very athletic too, like kind of potential to be gadgety too.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's the kind of guy I could definitely see someone trying, and then something happens. I'm like, yeah, give him a shot, and he wins a couple games.
It feels like Aller and Beck are probably going to get selected because they have like that typical pro size everybody talks about. Do you think that's important, underrated, overrated? Like I feel like we've seen Kyler Murray kind of not help that case with the undersized being okay, and then obviously Drew Brees has a Hall of Fame career before that being undersized. But do you think that matters anymore, like pro size versus not, your typical quarterback pro size?
I think it's properly rated. I think being small eventually shows.
Got it.
Eventually show, even if it's years later, it eventually shows up.
Got it. Okay. We teased this earlier and you mentioned it a little bit, but wide receivers are up next. Okay, I'm going to give you a bunch of names here.
Yep.
And I want you to rank these guys. Mekhi Lemon from USC, Carnell Tate, our guy at Ohio State, Jordan Tyson, you just talked about him a little bit, out of Arizona State, Denzel Boston, receiver out of Washington, Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M, and Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana. How would you rank those first? And then I got some follow-up questions for you.
Lemon, Tate, Boston, Tyson, Concepcion, Cooper.
Got it.
And I think that the first three guys do such different stuff that it's so hard it's really going to be whatever the head coach prefers. And like, I'm not in conversations with these people, but the back end of this wide receiver class is not ideal.
Okay. So is this the crop that you like? Is this where you would probably stop in terms of like, these are people that would contribute?
I think I would sneakily really like Zachariah Branch.
Okay.
And
I originally had him on
Notre Dame.
Okay.
And I think I would prefer both of those guys over Cooper or Concepcion. Okay. And maybe Boston, quite honestly. And Tyson, some team's going to overdraft because of what he does good is so hard to find.
Okay. If you had to guess, how many do you think get drafted in round one? And I can tell number one podcast listeners how many you have going. I'll go through this list really quick. You have Carnell Tate, number 6 to the Browns. You have Mekhi Lemon going number 11 to the Dolphins in their first of 2 picks. Jordan Tyson, who we talked about earlier, you have the Rams selecting him at 13. You have Casey Concepcion going 29 to the Chiefs in their second pick. So you have, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4?
4, yeah.
4 going in round one. Let's say I give you, because you said there could be some that sneak in. Do you think it's 4? If I give you, what number would entice you? If I told you 4.5, would you maybe still take the over, thinking someone comes back in to get a receiver?
No, I'd take the under.
Okay. Do you take the under? Okay.
Yeah, I think that 4th one's going to be lucky to sneak in there.
Got it. It feels like Concepcion very much is like a Chiefs type of. I see a lot of mocks with them taking him. He's
Chiefsy.
Like that.
He's Chiefsy.
Yeah.
You know,
it feels like that Xavier Worthy
car.
It feels Xavier Worthy like again.
Yes, and they somehow need another wide receiver. Like it never ends with them somehow. I don't know what they're doing over there. It makes no sense. They draft a wide receiver every year.
Yeah,
they started with great wide receivers, draft one every year, and then they have no wide receivers. What are they doing?
What happened?
Yeah, where are these people?
Where'd they go? Okay, how many wide receivers have first round grades in your opinion?
3,
and that is Tate, Lemon, and Boston. Okay.
Yeah. Tyson is literally like a first, second kind of guy to me just because, he's so volatile in what he does.
Okay. The other thing you talked about earlier and left a little breadcrumb for, depending on what a team likes, each of the receivers do things different. what makes the top 3 wide receivers different from another?
Okay, I'm going to avoid
Yes.
saying this.
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid making this lengthy. There's only 3 wide receivers in history that exist, and they just exist at different degrees. There's the like absolute speed demon, physical monsters, elite catchers, catch radius, everything. Then there's the route technicians. There's the 3rd and 7 guy. He's cooking somebody and getting you open. You know what I mean? There's the guy that gets
Devontae
open
Adams.
himself. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then there's these little tiny shifty guys that you get the ball in their hand and you let them go crazy. Right? Those are the 3 guys. Who would you say the most dominant physical wide receivers are of all time? Physically gifted. Premal, just give me 3 names. I'll give you the top. I'll give you
Calvin
the top
Johnson.
4. Yes, 1.
Randy Moss.
2.
Who would be the 3rd? Because Jerry Rice was hands, and I would put him in like route technician guy.
Yeah. So like T.O.?
T.O., yeah. T.O. is a good one, yeah.
Okay, great. And what about just Julio Jones? Just for
Yeah.
another
Oh,
freak
yeah.
one. 0 Super Bowls combined from those guys.
Wow.
0. Those
Okay.
guys, that style
I walked
of
right into
play-
that one.
Yeah, those styles. I let you name them.
Yeah.
Those styles.
That felt like
of
a magic
guys-
trick.
Those styles of guys don't win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They don't. The way they play doesn't win you Super Bowls. Jordan Tyson's not going to win anyone a Super Bowl. The kind of guys that win you Super Bowls are the guys that are the 3rd and 7 guys. Julian Edelman didn't win with the Pats until later. He was after they were done with the Randy Moss era. Once they got away from having that guy. That's the worst kind of guy you can have on your team. You want the 3rd and 7 guy that's picking up everything. That's Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. That's Jamar Chase in reality.
Yeah.
And then the shifty guys in between. So, I mean, that's why Tyson's so low to me, is because what he does is like, even if he does it the best, this never works.
Yeah. I
This
love that.
never works for anybody.
Okay, so based on that, I would assume Lemon fits into that shifty category, yes?
Yeah.
And where do you see Tate being? Like a route running guy, technician?
Yeah, so he's not going to get enough credit for what he does, but he's a route runner like Devontae Adams is, in the sense of like they're going to physically abuse his own defense for hours. They're going to find spots. They're going to know where their quarterback is. They're just smart players that are finding these cool spots to be and good spots to be to catch. And even if that just means the right time to come back to the quarterback.
Yep.
Even if that literally just means, okay, now's the time. Like, clock's over. I got to get going. Like, I'm just going to turn around. Screw it. I know he hasn't thrown the ball yet. Like, that back of your eyes wide receiver is absolutely what Tate is. And I think he's going to be great in that role.
And then you have Boston as your 3rd receiver. What category do you put him in?
He's in the route technician.
Okay.
He
But
just has.
you don't have him as
he's-
high as Tate, basically.
Not nearly. But I think that he's in that level of, because he doesn't do it as well. You know what I mean? And like you want to have more than one of those things, but you still need to be that guy. The physically athletic freak guy doesn't win. Like Tyreek Hill is more in that 3rd, that shift. You just get the ball in their hands and let them go.
Oh,
you
for
just
sure.
like you get their
That's the
like,
first
they're not
name I
jump
thought
on.
of.
Yeah. And Zachariah Branch is also in that group.
Okay.
Those are the kind of guys that are like, okay, you just let the ball go, get in their hands. That's it.
Right. They'll make a game-changing play, basically.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
break the game
Literally
open.
play it safe. Just no one screw up. Give it to these guys. We're gonna win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Is there one of the receivers that you strongly prefer?
Not strongly, but if I was building a team, I'd want Lemon.
Okay.
I like that he's an idiot, by the way. They make good wideouts. Just throwing that out there. He's probably a smart guy. Like, I don't know him, but like, boy, biggest interview of your life doing that. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's rough take.
Crazy cojones to do.
yeah. Like, all right, go for it.
Okay. Continuing with position rankings, okay? Offensive tackle. We've talked about a bunch of the names, but I want to get your ranking between the following guys. Caden Proctor, Alabama. Francis Maui-Noah from Miami. The pair from Utah, Spencer Fano and Caleb Lumu. And then Monroe Freeling from Georgia, who we've mentioned, I think, pretty much each of these names except for the second tackle out of Utah. How would you rank them? And if you want to add anybody else feel free, obviously.
All right, I'm going to give you a hot take on this one.
Okay.
Ready? It's nice for us.
Love these, baby.
They're super interchangeable.
Okay.
They're so interchangeable that ranking them is so obsolete because what they do is so different from each other.
Okay.
And they're not one of these guys is going to be a miss. Not one of these guys is going to be a miss. Yeah, not one of these guys is going to be a miss. Every one of these guys is going to pan out to be good. Pick your favorite, whoever your favorite is.
Wow. Okay.
That'd be it. Like
so
that's it. Like
that could be potentially nice for someone. The guy that's left slips to them later in the round. We talked about that earlier. Like there's no reason. So you, in your estimation, if you're in a decent spot, why would you reach for one of these guys? Because
they're all going to be good.
Yeah,
they're all going to be good though. You just don't want to miss out on them. You miss out on if you needed a tackle and one was in your face, you're an idiot. It's like what's the phrase? Go home with the girl that brought you.
Yeah.
It's like there's no such thing as more open, Premal. If you need a good tackle and there's one staring you in the face, take the good tackle.
Got it. So I wonder if that maybe means if a run starts going on him, someone has to go up and get one of these guys.
That's what I think will happen.
Is there a fall off after this group of guys, or do you still think?
No, the Clemson guy's pretty good.
Okay,
it's a good class because I think all those guys are hits, and if they all go in the first round, I'd be like, I don't care. Like Freeling's probably just picking up because people are watching tape late into the adventure here.
Yeah,
and they're like, holy shit, this guy is also just as good as all of these other guys. They're like, I just thought this was another Georgia idiot.
Right.
Like no,
Blake Miller is the tackle out of
Blake
Clemson,
Miller,
by
yes.
the way. Yeah,
Blake Miller, yes, he's good.
Who I almost included in your. Yeah,
if a good team gets him, they're gonna be like, oh, we reached on this guy. No, you didn't. There was just that many good tackles.
All right, I like that. So if your team's in need of a tackle, the only way you can be upset is if they don't get one of them. So
yeah, because once they're gone, they're gone. After that, fall off. That's it.
So. No Trevor Pennings in this one, so that's nice.
No. Yeah, huge.
Okay, we're shifting over to the defense for rankings here.
Cool.
I want to talk edge. Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami, David Bailey, Texas Tech. And this one's kind of a tweener. I know he probably is more generally defense line, but we'll include Akeem Mesidor from Miami as well. How would you rank those guys? And anybody else you want to add it?
Reese, Mesidor, Bain, Bailey, and then Falk.
Okay. Falk out of Auburn.
Yeah.
And just number one podcast listeners to give you, we talked about Reese and Bailey being top 4. You have Ruben Bain Jr. going number 9 to the Chiefs. You have Mesidor going 26 to the Bills, which would be big for them. And you have Keldrick Falk from Auburn going 20 to the Cowboys with their pick that they got from the Packers. So those are where those guys, you have them mocked. All first rounders, all high talented players. So I think the one knock on the Miami duo is that they're older for draft process. Yeah. But okay, move. I mean,
also Bain killed a woman.
Yes,
also Ruben Bain killed a woman. Like that.
Yeah, that news just broke. Yeah.
You want to know how you want to know how much of a chokehold the NFL has us in? We're extremely liberal dudes, and we saw Ruben Bain. We're like, the only thing that sucks is he's old. He just killed someone.
You're right.
and we're like, damn, dude, 24 though. Like he's got to get in the league now. Can he serve his time to justice later? That's crazy. Clock's ticking.
Clock's ticking. Yeah.
That's nuts. We're liberal dudes, Prem. Like we gotta be calling this out.
That was wild. You're right. We are just talking about the age of a prospect while that news broke. That's
what
tough.
A stranglehold we're in.
We're just part of the machine here.
Oh, rough.
Yeah. Okay. We got defensive tackle. Which we already talked about, not a super high value position, and there's a top end talent, but the names I got for you are Caden McDonald, Ohio State, Caleb Banks from Florida, Peter Woods from Clemson, Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, and Christian Miller from Georgia. Any ranking with those guys? This would probably be a day 1 and a day 2 ranking.
McDonald, Woods, Hunter. That's really the only 3 I like.
Okay, I like that.
That's really I'm trying to get the other guys. I'm like, does it matter? I don't want them.
Okay. They're just,
it's like they're just there because you need 2 of those guys like on the field at all times.
Yeah. So those are the only ones that probably get real rotation in your estimation are worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other guys, maybe I could see it, like Banks, like I could maybe.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, nah, I think those are just the guys I like, and everyone else is just all right. Like, okay, we need a defensive tackle. Do we like anybody? That's the kind of guy where they couldn't find a trade partner, and they're like, just pick him.
Got it.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? But we tried to get out of this. Just pick the guy. He's all right. Not gonna be bad or anything, but I think Woods, McDonald, and Hunter could actually be impact players for who drafts them.
Okay. I got 2 more positions for you. First one is linebacker. We have Sonny Styles. We'll put Arvell Reese in there, even though we also included him in edge. CJ Allen, Georgia. Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech, and Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. How would you rank those guys?
Prem, I would take all 5 of these guys in the first, by the way.
Yeah.
I would do Sonny Styles, Rodriguez, CJ Allen, Anthony Hill, Arvell Reese, only because we're only judging him as a non-pass rusher compared to these other guys.
Okay. And then my last position for you is cornerback. This is kind of a fascinating cornerback draft because the names I have for you, I just have 3, and if you want to include more, you can. Mansour Delane out of LSU, Jermod McCoy, who we both mentioned out of Tennessee, and Avion Terrell out of Clemson. Those are the 3 that are mentioned the most. We mentioned the other 2. I don't think you had Terrell going first round or any other corner.
And,
okay.
And that's the order. And that's literally the order.
All right. The way I had them listed. Okay.
Yeah. Delane, McCoy, Terrell. That's the 3. All 3 of those guys are good. I happen to actually think that McCoy and Terrell would be better prospects if Delane wasn't actually sneakily such a good one in circles. Because the people that watch tape are the people that write for the people that say this shit.
Yeah.
And it's like they all watched Delane tape and they were like, wait a second. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it was the fact that he transferred, the LSU wasn't good. Like, I don't know why people aren't saying it, but like, this guy's a stud.
Okay. I was going to ask you what the bigger drop was from between QB 1 and 2 with Mendoza to Simpson, or running back 1 to 2 and Love to Price. But you, Sneaky, might have Simpson as 1, so that one's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but I'd say it's actually the other one then, isn't it? Because I believe Mendoza and Simpson are actually just really close as prospects.
Yeah.
So it's like I think people treat the first overall pick. Yeah. I want to be as specific as possible because I'm afraid someone's going to repost this next year. I think people, I'm terrified of being called out for what I said. I think people look at Mendoza as like a 100 out of 100 perfect grade kind of prospect, and he's like an 80.
Okay.
He's like an 80 as a prospect, and I think Ty Simpson's also like an 80, and I just kind of like what he does more. Whereas
the
running
potential
back
upside,
whereas like, you know, with running back, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, there's a huge gap there talent-wise. And I think Jadarian Price, like, if Jeremiah Love goes missing, just it was Jadarian Price. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. This guy there's no way they're actually friends. Like, took all of his snaps at Notre Dame because he's the better player. And now in a league, in a world where Jeremiah Love doesn't exist, Jadarian Price is probably, they're talking about him going top 5.
Yeah. That's
like
crazy.
he's a really good player that has just always been held down by Jeremiah Love. Like he's going to cost Jadarius. If Jadarius Price tears his ACL in the league the first 2 years, he's going to cost Jadarian Price's family generational wealth. Like there'd be like there should be like a blood feud. Like like
that's awesome.
if I was Jadarian Price's kids, I'd be like, I gotta kill his kid. There's no like I gotta do what I can here.
That's what we call NFL draft analysis, baby.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. Little blood feuds. We don't have them anymore.
Okay. Next question. With obvious top prospects at running back and safety, we've talked about with Jeremiah Love, the aforementioned, and Caleb Downs, we talked about respectively. They're seemingly first-round talents. We've established they are in your estimation, but they're part of position groups that are not historically prioritized in the first round. How do you weigh their extreme talent versus the position they play?
Okay. Just going to make this a best player available argument. No one plays football on paper.
Yeah.
Okay. The better people out there make a difference no matter what scheme they're in.
Got it.
If you watch the way Adrian Peterson was used in Minnesota, it actually was not a scheme fit.
Yeah.
It wasn't a scheme fit. That's why they had other running backs the whole time they had Adrian Peterson, because they needed a whole nother set of skills that he didn't have. And he still had a Hall of Fame career.
Wow. Great point.
Also beat his child. Not going to let everyone off the. He's no Reuben Bain, dude.
We're not.
You know
we're
what
not.
I mean?
Yeah. He's past draft prospect, so we got to cover that.
Yeah. We can hate him now. We got our use out of him. We saw him sacrifice his brain for us. But no, I think like in reality, scheme almost never matters. The kind of player you are matters more than scheme. And that positionally, it's the same thing. Yeah. Like people say, oh, you can't grade positions on this. Yes, you can. I can say that running back is worth more than that wide receiver to me, because in no world is like CMC is absolutely the most valuable running back in the NFL and was for many years. And literally, like, look, they're like still trying to they've paid like 8 wideouts more than him since then.
Yeah.
Like, but it makes no sense, because no matter what it doesn't matter where your money's spent. That's just the market value. You got to get what you got to get to, feed your family. Like it's that kind of thing with football. It's literally just put the best players out there. Everything else doesn't matter as much as that. You ever go to LA Fitness and play pickup ball? The best guy wins.
Yep.
Like, one guy's better than everybody else. He wins. Put any other 4 dudes on any other team. The best guy out there is going to win. Yeah. If one guy played D1 ball, that's it. Runs over.
Ben Simmons is probably getting some runs at.
Yeah. Ben Simmons right now, dude.
Shout out Ben Simmons.
He's terrorizing some LA Fitness guy who was like, this was my domain. Like, I ruled this.
My house, yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. You Jadarian priced me.
Yeah.
Took everything from me.
Okay. What is your strongest position group in this draft?
Middle linebacker and tackle tie. Both are great.
Okay. Weakest position group in this draft?
Probably defensive tackle, just because there's not a lot that I really like.
Yeah, you said you only like 3 of them. So
yeah.
Okay. I want to do what would you rather have teams with young quarterback addition cover some of the teams we haven't talked about. Which situation do you like best? The Commanders, who have Jaden Daniels and pick 7. The Texans with CJ Stroud, who have pick 28. The Chargers with Justin Herbert, pick 22. Or we'll put in the Panthers with Bryce Young and pick 19, who all had really good seasons this past year, minus the Commanders, who Jaden Daniels was hurt most of the year.
I'd go Commanders.
Commanders, yeah.
Yeah. Assuming that I'm not taking every other variable into play, like who do I think is going to be the best out of those teams? The Texans. Yeah. Whose situation would I want the most right now? The Commanders, because I don't think CJ Stroud is awful. Yeah. But I also don't think CJ Stroud, he's Dak Prescotting the Texans in real time. Yeah. It's like, I'm too good to get rid of. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? I might not get you there. Yeah, I'm too good to get rid of.
Wow. My family's going to hate that one. That analogy.
Sorry, fellas.
That's gonna cause a lot of
problems.
A lot of problems in the group chat coming in with that one. Can't wait.
My group chat.
Can't wait to clip that one. Okay, what would you rather have teams with transition quarterback addition? Because there's so many of these all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The Dolphins now have Malik Willis, and they have 2 picks in the first round, 11 and 30. The Vikings, who have Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy in pick 18. The Cardinals, who are now switching to Jacoby Brissett, I guess, and have pick 3. The Steelers with a question mark and pick 21 right now. The Falcons have Tua and Michael Penix. They have no first-round picks. Speaking of trouble with the law, yikes on that one with James Pierce Jr. And then the reason they don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. And we'll put in the Saints, who with Tyler Shuck, who kind of surprised people last year, and they have pick 8, which
it's the Vikings. It's the Vikings by a mile. Yeah, I would write. The Vikings already found their quarterback. They're done. Kyler Murray's the guy. They're not like that's it. They figured it. They're so lucky. The Cardinals are so inept as an organization that they just got to take Kyler Murray. It's over. Like the Vikings don't need a quarterback anymore. People aren't talking about it like you're calling him a transitional guy. No, the Vikings just made one of the, I think, could be one of the more impactful signings in the league.
Well, like he did only sign a 1-year deal, right?
But they're going to pay him.
Yeah.
They're going to pay him next year. They just handed, and Kyler's not going to leave.
Yeah.
Why would he leave Kevin O'Connell? He literally just spent his entire career on a shitty team that proved it couldn't help him. He goes to a team with a good mentality. At least the Vikings are like a great organization.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to be a star again, and he's going to re-sign that. Fuck, he might give him a discount. He might be like, thank you so much.
Thanks for reviving my career. Yeah.
Yeah, like you did this. I owe you everything.
Yeah. Okay. I had a number 1 podcast listener submit this one, who you got stronger position group, QB versus defensive tackle.
Oh boy. Quarterback, just because there's a lot of guys I would be happy taking and developing.
Okay. I think I know your answer based on what you said earlier. Running back versus linebacker.
Linebacker. Yeah.
And then wide receiver versus defensive back.
Defensive back in total, as long as it's not just cornerbacks.
Okay. And then tight end versus O-line, and I know you did a ton of tight end scouting.
Yeah, I did. I like the 3 I watched. I think O-line wins that just because O-line is super deep this year.
Got it.
Like O-line, this O-line is probably one of the deeper groups of the last couple drafts of any position.
Wow. That's a great news if you need O-line help.
Yeah. And even if you don't, great news, because a lot of guys are going to get taken before the guys you want.
Great point, yeah. Okay, I like asking you this each year. Which position groups have prospects that have a clear lock for top prospects? So I think we talked about a few earlier. Jeremiah Love at running back as an example. What other positions is there a clear number 1 ranking for? Number 1 ranked
tight end and inside linebacker, Sonny Styles and Kenyon Sadiq. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Safety, I can be convinced. Corner, I can be convinced. Wide receiver, you don't even need to convince me. Quarterback, I'm trying to convince people. Yeah. It's like, I mean, this year, Kenyon Sadiq's the best tight end available.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down. There's Stowers is probably 2, and he's like a mile away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are like, oh, if we don't get Sadiq in the top 15 picks, we might get Stowers in the 4th. We might get Stowers in the 3rd. Like, there's a huge, even the guys that want tight end are like, if we can't get Sadiq, we'll take anybody.
Right. Everybody else is kind of grouped in.
Yeah.
You have the Saints at number 8 taking Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. Another few teams that have been kind of tied to him are the Ravens at 14 and the Buccaneers at number 15. For what it's worth, if you're fans of either one, you had 14 Ravens taking Monroe Freeling. You mentioned you love the tackles. And then at 15, you have the Buccaneers taking Dylan Tieneman from Oregon, the other safety that you could probably debate with Downs if that was the one that you were going to argue it for.
Yeah. And, Sadiq, for what it's worth, he's probably actually a top 10 guy. And I think Kyle Pitts owes that man money. Like, if
Kyle Pitts just had a career year.
if Kyle Pitts hadn't been screwing around for 4 years, Kenyon Sadiq's like, we're talking about a top 5 lock here.
Yeah.
He'd be the top. He'd be the Browns pick, even with Harold Fannin Jr. on the roster. Like, that's how good they did. Great.
Don't count it out, though, Cleveland. Don't count it out.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, and good for you. If it happens, like, good for, because Sadiq he's a baller.
Yeah. Okay. We do this every year, Thomas. Our annual Bailey Zappe / Clayton Tune Award. Your favorite day 2 and 3 prospects. We deep cut quarterback with the chance to start. You've hit on Clayton Tune and Bailey Zappe. Who's your guy this year, and any other bonus position groups that you love? Your Nick Nash from last year, if you remember, #1 podcast listener.
Navy's Eli Heidenreich is the guy that people are going to be like, oh my, it's Wes Welker 2.0.
Okay.
Like, this is the guy that they're going to be like, oh, why didn't I draft this guy? Puka Nacua in the 8th round of your redraft. Like, this is the guy that someone's going to take. Like, you talked about a 1st-round prospect. This is a guy that's going to go to, like, the 49ers, and people are going to be like, no fucking way they got another CMC.
Okay.
Like, they're going to be like, there's just no way they did that, like, instantly. This is the guy that's going to make every single team be like, what did we miss? Let's watch the tape. Was it just Navy? Like, was it just that he was at Navy and, you know, those guys are weird? No, he's so good that I was emboldened to put him in, like, the 2nd or 1st round of my mocks when I was going. Because I'm like, someone else is going to see it, right? Because, like, if you read anything about him, if you Google him, and, you know, I'm sure people are going to Google whatever site comes up, PFF or whatever, they're going to say, it starts with, like, Navy's all-time leading receiver. Navy, first of all, has been playing football since it was fucking invented.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea how serious, like, that is to say as, like, a Navy guy. And it's like, they're like fluid hands, great eyes, quick on his feet, strong through tackles. You're like, oh, he's fucking perfect.
I tell you, the first thing I see is Swiss Army knife quotes.
See? They're like, this guy's perfect.
Yeah.
Everything you see about the guy is they're just like, oh, yeah, he could kind of do everything. Okay. Like, great.
The next thing I want to see is, I'd be fine if he'd be the type that you'd want to date your daughter.
Yes, yeah, that's what's coming next with him.
Yeah.
But no, that's literally it with all that stuff. Like, and he does everything right to the point where, like, if he doesn't do well in the NFL, I might start being like, I don't know how to evaluate pass catchers anymore. Like, that's crazy. Like, he's with the punt return and the kick return, or the new kick return rules. This guy is going to be winning fantasy football leagues and winning some team championships. Like, he's just that good of a football player. Eli
Heidenreich out of Navy, running back /
insane.
receiver.
I've never been this bold in my life. Like, I'm nervous saying this, but, like, if they put me on ESPN and they were like, give me a top 20, I'd be like, yeah, he's in there.
We're going to clip this, and we're going to find his accounts and tag him. And he's going to love
it's like, I don't know what to tell you. Anyone who ever watched this guy play football his whole life was probably like, holy shit, enjoy the pros, dude. Like, at no point was this guy not. It's how Navy get him. Like, that's really what town is this guy from? Like, that Navy was like, yeah, we're the best option.
He must be a legacy guy at Navy or something.
I'm donating the whatever way I can to get this Iran conflict over to keep that guy out of the draft, dude. Like, I need to see him play football.
Okay, any quarterback prospect that you love that's a deep cut? You mentioned Aller earlier.
I like Haynes King.
Haynes King. Okay.
Haynes King. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guy. I like Haynes King. I think he can move the ball around a lot, and I like the way he throws it.
Okay. #1 podcast listeners, we covered all the questions you submitted, plus some from me. That was fun, Thomas, as always, to get your take and your analysis. #1 podcast
Happy
listeners,
to give it to
appreciate you submitting those. Let's wrap up real quick with what you feeling in our Too Much Sense. So, Thomas, what you feeling lately?
Dude, TV's so good still. It's so good. Are you watching TV? Are you a TV guy?
Yeah, Shrinking. I'm all about Shrinking right now.
Shrinking's the greatest show ever. I just watched I'm crying. My wife, we're crying.
Never seen a show go 3 for 3 with seasons like this. If you haven't watched Shrinking.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Shrinking is the greatest show on television right now. And
I agree.
Like, it might be the greatest ever.
Yeah. And I'm really nervous about them renewing for season 4 because I think top to bottom,
Don't screw this up for me.
Yes, I don't want it to miss. But these,
I'm with you.
if you haven't watched Shrinking on Apple TV, go do it. Thomas, what I'm feeling, I do this every year for this episode. The tradition of watching an NFL draft with friends. I'm bummed I'm gonna miss joining you and the fellas in your neck of the woods. I do love watching it with friends and texting with other friends about it. Love getting your thoughts real time. And then personally, I celebrate an early 10-year anniversary with my wife by going to Italy, Puglia to be specific. We don't usually do that sort of thing for ourselves, and we really had the best time and some quality time. And shout out to our boys' grandparents, our parents for holding down the fort here for them and our house and our dog Teddy, so that we could go do that and celebrate our 10 years of marriage and do it in style and have great food, and then allowing us to do something we truly usually don't. So shout out to
Hell yeah, Gramps.
And
I said, yeah, shout out to grandparents, dog.
yes, hell yeah, and yeah, shout out to her. She just had a birthday too, and helped plan that trip. So love to the missus, and anyway.
You're like, and yeah, I love my wife.
Love her so much.
You guys might not believe this. We're big wife loving guys.
It's just in, both of us do.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know I like to end each episode before we wrap up things. My too much sense. We did a talk episode last year. We're gonna have to run that back, Thomas. And but I like to end each episode with advice you didn't ask for. But this episode's too much sense is about the ability to admit you're wrong. It goes a tremendously long way, and it really emphasizes an ability to lead. I think great leaders don't stay wrong just because they're too stubborn to admit it. They gather more information, and it can change their opinion or stance, and more information should do that for you. So don't be too proud to be wrong and admit it. It is greatly appreciated when you're able to do so, from my estimation. So that's my too much sense.
You're wrong about that take. You're wrong.
And
you're wrong.
I can admit that.
You're wrong about that take. Being wrong is the fucking worst, dude. Who likes
it does
being
suck.
wrong? If you'll never see me again if Eli doesn't
I
work
never
out.
I never said like it, but I think it says a lot about your character if you're able to admit it with more information.
If any of my takes were wrong, then I'm leaving the country.
There you go.
There's
nothing wrong with doubling and tripling down while there's while you don't have more information. I never said that. This is still Prem Brulee, where the home of spicy takes, #1 podcast listeners. So, but anyway, Thomas, I want to thank you as always for joining this very special edition of the #1 podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee, our NFL Draft Preview Edition, our annual edition. We're back in video form. I know it was loved last year, so I want to thank you for doing it from this way. I prefer you in person. We'll get back to that next year, but appreciate you doing this.
We'll get there
remotely. Shout out to Sycamore Studios for having us, and hopefully you love the content and enjoy it as much as last year. #1 podcast listeners, I can't thank you enough. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, love doing this podcast and appreciate you all for tuning in and supporting Prem Brulee. It means the world to me, and Thomas, couldn't have done it without you. You've helped so much with this podcast and how it's grown and been branded, and you're the best, man. Appreciate your expertise, your ball knowing, and every other creative endeavor that you do. I'm always a fan, and you know that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You know, I'm always a call or text away, especially when Eli gets drafted in the second round. I'm going to be like, Prem, bud, step out of your party.
Here we are. #1 podcast listeners, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, support Prem Brulee. I appreciate all the shares. Share it to your stories, your socials. Share the episode. Leave reviews if you haven't already. I so greatly appreciate you all for supporting Prem Brulee, and we'll talk to you next time. We'll try to incorporate more of these video formats, like I said last year, and we'll have more episodes coming your way very soon. Appreciate you.